Why did Jesus set his ministry up here in Capernaum? I'm going to give you 7 reasons. Hey everybody, I am currently on location in the northern part of Israel, right next to the Sea of Galilee. Now, one of the most vexing questions in history is why Jesus moved from his hometown of Nazareth all the way here to Capernaum. For instance, once you come to Israel, you'll realize that there are actually any number of cities that Jesus could have moved to that would have been more fruitful for his ministry. I'm thinking of some larger cities such as Tiberias and Sepphoris, which contained populations that would have been tens of thousands of people. So compared to Capernaum, which most likely had a population of 1,000 or so, this was a very, very small place. However, we're told in the Gospels that Jesus does not establish his ministry in those other cities, and in fact, he never even goes there. Instead, he stays here. Now, let's give some of the reasons why I think Jesus might have moved here to Capernaum. I'm going to give 7 reasons, but of course, there are more besides. First and foremost, Jesus probably chose this place because the Sea of Galilee is right here. We're told in the Gospels on multiple occasions that Jesus is going to use the Sea of Galilee as his base. And so we see him going from town to town, and it makes the most sense for him to set up shop here as opposed to Nazareth, which doesn't have that. Also, Capernaum was located on an ancient road called the Via Maris, or the Way of the Sea, and this provided various connections to new people groups. So people would have been more open-minded, which is going to be really important for Jesus, who offers a novel interpretation of Scripture. Third, we're told that Capernaum is the place where Peter comes from, and in fact, Peter's house is right behind me, and you can go and visit it today. It's also where Jesus lived. So maybe Jesus moved here because of Peter. Maybe Jesus liked Peter, maybe Jesus liked fishermen. At any rate, he moved here because of that personal connection. So that makes a lot of sense as well. Fourth, the Gospels say that Jesus moved to Capernaum immediately after John was imprisoned. So it's possible that safety had something to do with Jesus' decision. Maybe he simply felt more safe in a larger city or in a city where people didn't know him. Fifth, Matthew tells us that Jesus comes to this place in order to fulfill prophecy. There's a passage in Isaiah that talks about the land of Naphtali, which is the northern part of Israel, would be blessed. Sixth, Luke tells us in chapter 4 of his gospel that Jesus was essentially kicked out of Nazareth, his hometown. So we read that he went and he preached in the synagogue, and afterward people were enraged and they kicked him out and tried to kill him. So not surprisingly, as a very small town, Nazareth was traditional and it was conservative and it wasn't open to Jesus' novel interpretation of Scripture. So naturally, Jesus would have found it more fruitful and beneficial for his ministry to go elsewhere to a more open-minded audience. Seventh, Jesus' move from his hometown is simply the plight of everyone famous in the world. So if you look in world history, people always move from their hometown to another to launch their ministries, their legacies, their vocations. After all, that's the kind of God that we see in the Bible, a very active God, a moving God, a nomadic God, a pilgrim God. So not surprisingly, Jesus takes after his Father. So there you have it. Those are 7 reasons that I offer on why Jesus moved to Capernaum. There are other reasons as well, and I want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you think Jesus moved here primarily because of the Sea of Galilee? Do you think it was primarily because this is where Peter lived, right behind us, or because this fulfills Scripture? Or is there another reason altogether? So let me know one of the reasons why you think Jesus moved from Nazareth to Capernaum to begin his ministry.